ILWU is not for sale. We're not going to give up what we got for the A's for money to bail out the Port of Oakland. We were at the Port of Oakland meeting last week. They're hundreds of $millions in debt. And they're going to take away our jobs in our area right here, kicking people out of West Oakland to pay off their debt. That's wrong. You know, we're working class. You don't mix, I say, water and oil. This is a blue-collar area right here. They're trying to take over with the $1 Million Boys Club, put a playground in our backyard. It ain't going to.
What's your name?
My name is Kevin Stewart.
And what are your concerns about the stadium?
It's not really concerns, it's just common sense. This is a port. You see them cranes? This is what we make our money off of. This is one of the busiest ports in Northern California. And I cannot understand where they're at right now. The Warriors are gone and the Raiders are gone. That is perfectly land-based. And from what I heard, the land has now become obtainable where they can actually purchase the land. So if they can purchase the land, why would they not just purchase the stadium, the land they own right now, rebuild? If you want restaurants, hotels, you have more than enough land down there to do that. Why is it so essential for the A's and the port to even be considering an idea where there's cranes present? Because if you look at the site in San Francisco, did you see cranes in that area before they bought or developed that land? There was no cranes there. So I can see that happening. This is an actual berth where we actually work and move cargo. We are one of the largest shipping lanes and move the most cargo. You can go check with the Port of Oakland right now and look at the numbers. The amount of cargo that's coming out of this port is in the millions.
So who's behind this development?
I'm gonna tell you what I think it is. I think it's an all-out land grab, straight up. Because common sense tells me if you're already in a situation that's perfectly fit for you, Mark Davis wanted to stay, but he couldn't get the land. Now the land is available, and you mean to tell me you don't want to build a perfect good stadium there? And here's another point. How many games do they play in Major League Baseball? So once the games are done, the season is over, it's just sitting idle?
What about the 4,000 condos? What effect would that be in West Oakland?
Well, let me just say this. I grew up in West Oakland. This is my neighborhood. I grew up on 18th and Filbert all my life. And let me just say this. There's so many conditions down there health-wise where they knowing that if they build it there, it's going to be all-out health problems for these people because you're going to have more trucks coming in. You're going to have more things coming out here as far as for emitting particulates. See, a lot of people want to talk about just environmental. Let's talk about the particulates that are in the air. These people breathe this every day. I've been breathing it as a kid in West Oakland. You feel me? Just luckily, by the grace of God, I don't have no serious health conditions, but there are a lot of people who are suffering from health conditions, asthma, health conditions, lung conditions. There's a lot of things going on down here, and they know this. So for them to then take a deal like this, put it on the table, and let me just make it very clear. When Mayor Gene Kwan was the mayor, the Oakland A's came down here. They did an environmental study already. And I was at the meeting. It was called Save Oakland Sports at Franciscan Hotel or the Franciscan Restaurant over on Hagenberger. They already got the paperwork to know how bad it is and how contaminated it is. My question is, we went to City Hall to see them propose this environmental study by the city of Oakland. They already got the paperwork, so they know how bad it is. Why is nobody in the media talking about that? That to me is mind-boggling.
Okay, thank you.
My name is John Ryman. I'm the former recording secretary of Carpenters Local 713 and an expelled member of that union for fighting for the members. And I forgot to say something about Adreus Cluver, who, before he became a port commissioner, was the head of the Alameda County Building Trades Council. And when I was a student at Laney, when we were opposing the stadium at Laney College, and the building trades came out in support because they support jobs anywhere, anytime, any place, I talked with Adreus Cluver, and he said that, yes, we are the slaves of finance capital. So now he is supposed to be representing the public here, and his view is that we are the slaves of finance capital. So, of course, he should he shouldn't recuse himself. He never should have been there in the first place. But now the mayor of Oakland was mentioned. Now, if you do any research on the finances of who has financed her campaign, and I've done the research, I have the names, almost all of her major donors are real estate speculators. That's who controls her. So what this is, anymore, owning a sports team is not about the team. It's about access to real estate. And that's what they plan to do here. I mentioned Pier 39. Their plan is to turn this whole area into a giant tourist trap. And just like they did with Pier 39, and it was part and parcel of gentrifying San Francisco, and that is their plan for here in Oakland.
And the Alameda Labor Council and Building Trades are both formally endorsing this project. What does that represent? I mean, the fact that they're supporting destroying maritime jobs and more gentrification in Oakland?
Well, it represents exactly what Adreus Cluver said, that they view us as being the slaves of finance capital. And, you know, it's one thing to be the Nat Turner slaves, and it's another thing to be the house slave that snitches on your fellow slaves and sells them out in order to get a marginally better deal for yourself. And that's what they are.
How's the lunch?
Good.
So what do you guys think about the
We don't have any comment, I'm sorry.
No comment?
Yeah.
You think you're being used by the A's to build a stadium on the port? Giving a free lunch here today?
Used?
I mean, used by them to support a stadium on the port.
No, I don't think so. I was going to come anyway without the free food.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think that they should remove the working port to put a stadium here?
I don't have all the details on the working port and what and all the. I saw the people.
Howard Terminal is a working port, the working port.
Yeah.
The longshoremen, truckers that work in the Howard Terminal. Do you know about that?
I am aware of that. I'm not sure of all the economic impacts of that.
They'll lose their jobs.
For sure.
For sure.
That's a fact.
Well, there's a limited amount of space here. If they remove that Howard Terminal and turn it into a stadium with 4,000 condos, they're going to lose their jobs.
And then what happens?
They will 100% lose their jobs.
Yeah.
No doubt.
They won't be able to work on that terminal anymore.
Pure speculation. There's Steve, Max.
So you think it's pure speculation that there won't be any job loss by longshoremen?
There's no way to guarantee that for you to say that.
Why wouldn't they build a stadium in the Coliseum?
Why can't they build a stadium here?
Well, they already have land that they own, Coliseum.
Why can't they have both?
What do you mean both? You have to build a stadium either in the Coliseum or here. Why wouldn't they build it in the Coliseum where all the transportation and everything else is?
Because it's being torn down. It's a piece of crap.
It's a bad location.
It's a terrible place.
Bad location?
Yes.
Couldn't they rebuild it?
There's nothing around there. If
So
you
they want the nice view of the port? Is that what they want?
Can you tell us what is the exact implications of
Motivation in this.
Well, I mean, 4,000 condos here on port land, on public land. This is a working port. Do you have any concern about the workers who work on the port?
continue to work, it's going to work just fine.
While you're
It's going
here?
to be a great addition to the community. I think it's going to be a great addition to the neighborhood. I've always loved the A's, and I love them. Now I'll continue to love them.
My name is Vernon, and I'm a longshoreman, Local 10 ILWU, and we're here to protest against the Oakland A's putting a stadium up in our waterfront. They have no right to come to where we are. They already have, in fact, they own the property that they're already at. So they're trying to buy some new property here, and what's going to happen to the property they have over there? They have ancillary parking lots and warehouses just outside of the Coliseum that they could expand into those areas too. So why they want to expand over here, take away from the economy of Oakland or the Bay Area of California. There's ships coming here from all over the world that are importing and exporting goods, and we're facilitating that. And by us, or I should say by the A's coming in and taking over this waterfront, there's going to be jobs that are going to be lost, there's homes that are going to be lost, a lot of lives are going to suffer from this, and we're just here to prevent all that. It's been a good city, it's been good to a lot of people, and they're trying to restructure our city into something that it's not.
Local 10.
And you're a working longshore worker?
Yes, I'm a longshore worker, and this A's move would be detrimental to our craft, to our livelihood. It's insane. Yes, there's already a stadium here.
You're building a stadium on a working port?
Right. That doesn't make any sense at all.
So you're worried about your job and the job of your fellow workers?
Definitely, my union's placement, yes, our work, the whole city. It's just detrimental. It's not going to work for the city at all.
And 4,000 condos here on the port, what would that mean to West Oakland? $4,000 million condo?
Lopsided. It's just really lopsided. Why can't they put that money into the neighborhood or onto the port? You know, invest into the business that runs Oakland, that builds Oakland, that makes the commerce, keeps the economy up.
Juan Gonzalez.
Are you a longshoreman?
Yes, I'm a second generation longshoreman.
Yeah. Why are you here today?
Because they're trying to build the stadium on our waterfront property. Maritime. Yeah. This is my son, third generation longshoreman.
He's a longshoreman too.
Yeah.
You both would be affected.
Yeah, we both be affected.
What do you think about the idea that they would actually try to remove a working port and build a stadium where there's working longshoremen here?
That's awful because it trickles down. Later on, everything we work hard for is going to be gone as far as pension and everything.
Hi, I'm Keith Madding, Inland Boatman Union member and tugboat engineer here in San Francisco, here to rally against the ballpark at Howard Terminal in Oakland. Howard Terminal is a working terminal for the Port of Oakland, and the real estate development of Howard Terminal will take away jobs and kick people out of the neighborhood.
My name is Andy Garcia. I'm chairman of the board of GSC Logistics. We're a transportation provider here at the Port of Oakland. And we're very concerned over the stadium because we know it's going to have very grave repercussions against the workers of Oakland. It's going to eat up a huge amount of waterfront that should be dedicated to import-export business, which has been helping the port grow, as well as the entire Northern California and Nevada region. And it is absolutely ludicrous to put a playground in the middle of an assembly line for services. This port is no differently than an automobile line, except we provide services. We don't create an automobile or a laptop.
So are you saying they're going to destroy part of a working port?
Absolutely. They're going to take up land that is destined for the growth of the Port of Oakland, to employ more residents of Oakland, not on part-time jobs, giving out peanuts and beer and soda, but giving individuals and the youth of Oakland the opportunity to have a long-term job with retirement, benefits, pension, and an ongoing job that can promote them into a middle-class position compared to what the A's are going to offer, which is nothing more than part-time jobs for the youth, and the rest can just watch the game. So we're very much against the project. It is absolutely contrary to all the efforts that industry has put forth, spending over $250 million, getting clean trucks, finding yard space so the drivers don't park throughout the city of Oakland, minimizing traffic, concentrating it at the port area, and now they're going to throw a stadium here with 35 people, half gassed, when they finish a game, are going to absolutely saturate the streets of Oakland, not only downtown, but the waterfront, and cause a problem for the workers as well as the truck drivers.
The Port Commission is supposed to represent companies such as yourself and working maritime workers. Why would they be in favor of this?
Because the mayor is the one who appoints the port commissioners, and then the city council ratifies them. So obviously, whatever the mayor says, that's the direction the port commissioners go, even though they know that it is wrong to put a playground in the middle of an assembly line for services in the middle of the port here, as they're planning to do. It's absolutely undeserving of the people, of the workers of Oakland, for this to take place and eat up land that could be dedicated to more jobs in the waterfront.
Where are the truckers here today?
We are the truckers.
I'm talking about the working truckers. They're not here today.
Well, they'll be showing up. We're still early.
It's port time.
Yeah, and they are working, which is what they come to the port for.
They may not have any jobs if this thing's going through.
No, I mean, they'll have jobs. The jobs for the drivers, it's not going to go away. It's just going to create more hassle, more congestion. And what will happen is that customers that are using the Port of Oakland, because of all the congestion that this stadium will cause, will move to another port, and then the jobs will go away as well, not only for drivers, but also for longshoremen and all the other people who derive on the workforce of Oakland.
Now, they also want to build 4,000 condos, probably at $1 million each. What would the effect of 4,000 condos here on a working port be?
The reason for the condos is the A's are getting this land at below market price. They're going to build the condos and sell them, and those condos that are going to be constructed and built at below market price for the land are the ones that are going to pay for the stadium. It's not going to come out of their pockets. So it's all a financial gimmick here, where the end result is the port is going to lose about 20% of its waterfront land that could be developed for more waterfront business and more workers in the ILWU and other unions, and then the A's will use that money to pay for the stadium. Because I also represent industry in the Maritime Air Quality Improvement Plan, MAQIP, here at Oakland. We've been working diligently for the last 16 years to reduce emissions, to reduce congestion, to have the drivers constrain themselves to being within the port and not go ahead and transit through the city, and this is all going to alter all those efforts that we've been doing for the last 15, 16 years.
Some slides that you guys have them in front of you guys, the printouts maybe? Yeah, so this is, I think, a really nice way to kind of go over some of the high points of the project that we've spent the last year working on. It's been great working with the staff, with Danny, Eugene, and Pamela on really crafting a framework that can work for everyone involved. As you can see the picture here, this is the beautiful approach. This is just, basically a pop fly away from where we are right now. And that's the approach to our new waterfront ballpark at Jack London Square. Really a transformative project in a positive way for Oakland and for the Oakland A's.
Clarence Thomas, third generation longshore worker, retired, family's been on the waterfront since 1944. One of the most telling comments that was made today from Dave Kaval had to do with having an artist's rendering of a crane that does not work as part of the ambiance. The Port of Oakland is iconic because of what it does, not just what it looks like. George Lucas was influenced by the cranes and used that for Star Wars. This is not a game. This is people's lives on the line here. I want to imagine people in this room to think if this proposal were made 10 years ago, you wouldn't even have considered it. But here we are in the era of Donald Trump and the port. You need money, and you would sacrifice the port for privatization of the public resource, the third busiest port on the West Coast, for a baseball stadium and condominiums. These condominiums are not for poor people. These are condominiums for people who want to watch a baseball game. These are penthouse condos. Displacement, but you who are supposed to be the stewards of the port, this is your primary concern, not developing ballparks and condominiums. Are you in the land business? This is about privatization. This is about displacement, but more importantly, you're talking about some of the most well-paying jobs in the United States of America. Longshore workers are responsible for the food that's on your plate, the clothes that's on your back, the car that you drive, the electronic gadgets and computers.
Time.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up with this. This is a defining moment for you. And you're going to be held accountable.
My name's Renee Sharp. I'm a longshore worker, ILWU Local 10. I'm here to support my occupation, to support the pensioners that have spent a lifetime on the waterfront, who, if we do not continue our working, they are not going to have a pension to draw from. This waterfront is the home to many people. Thousands of pensioners are relying, and their families rely, on the money that's going to come in from the port continuing on the waterfront. I myself, single woman, many years, no prince in shining armor, going to come up and help my senior years. I got called in to this job in 2012 after waiting 13 years.
Time.
My future depends on this job. My retirement depends on this job.
I'm the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Alameda Labor Council, representing 135,000 unions in Alameda County, including workers at the Coliseum and the Port of Oakland. Today I'm speaking in support. While we did listen to our brothers in the ILWU and sisters and other unions who had raised concerns, the messaging that we took into consideration and thoughts that went into this decision in supporting the project, we're also looking at the current jobs and what it means to our community. I want to read you just a few statistics when it comes to the quote-unquote hot dog vendors or hot dog wrappers. Currently, there's 600 of them that could potentially lose their jobs. Right now, 40% of them live in Oakland, and 60% of them are African American or Latinos. 175 of them have been working for the Coliseum and the A's for 15 years. So while we're at third base today, I want to be clear that we haven't made a home run. And the Labor Council, Secretary Treasurer, I commit to continuing to work to make sure the voices of all workers in Oakland are uplifted and supported. Thank you.
I oppose the stadium. A's is not that good. They had the same kind of problems when they left from Philadelphia. I was reading here, sparse community, just wasn't good, up and down. Same thing is going to happen again. It's going to affect the community. This is heartbreaking to see, people just sell out, and follow the bag for the money. I'm from here, and this is just a sad day for the community. That's all I got to say.
Good afternoon. My name is Francisca Carranza. I'm a member of the Executive Board of Unite Here, Local 2850 in Oakland. And I'm going to repeat a little bit of what Liz just said. We have 600 members who do food service at the Oakland Coliseum. 40% are residents in the city of Oakland. Almost 200 of them have been there for more than 15 years. Almost 200 of them depend on the Coliseum jobs for their healthcare and retirement benefits. These are good jobs, and we support the new ballpark at Howard Terminal and keeping the A's in the city of Oakland. We will continue working with the A's to negotiate a community benefits agreement that includes local hire, first source hiring, and requirements like we have at the airport, affordable housing, and environmental mitigations. Thank you.
Farless Daily, Local 10. His pictures were beautiful of the ballpark, but what they don't show you are the pollutants in the air.
That part. Yep.
That's what they don't show you. Come down to Local 10 and do a study of how many of our members are getting sick and their children having cancer and our members getting cancer. Are you going to put a plaque outside the stadium that says may cause cancer like we have at all the terminals?
That part.
I don't think you're going to do that. I don't know why you would want to put the public in harm's way. The Tide Trust is there for a reason. And that reason is to keep a buffer from the public and an industrial port. Don't put the public in harm's way if you care, because you're sure not going to put your families out there. I guarantee you that.
My name is Jack Heyman. I stand in opposition to the building of the A's Stadium. I talked to one of the members of the Port Commission of the Port of Los Angeles. That's the largest port in the country. I've been in communication with members of the Port Commission of Long Beach. That's the second largest port in the country. They have informed me, and I mentioned this before, and this needs to be addressed. What you are doing is illegal. There's a Tidelands Water Trust Act that says that these port lands are only to be used for industrial and commercial purposes. You are violating the law. Every single one of you are accountable in how you vote on this. If it's not good for Los Angeles and it's not good for Long Beach, the two largest ports in the country, it's not good for this port either. Okay? This is a dangerous job. I worked in the port for many of the 40 years that I lived and worked in Oakland. My kids go to public schools. By the way, Mr. Kaval, we walked the picket lines for public schools with the teachers to win, and we're opposed to privatization of schools as well as the port. This is a fight of the 99% against the 1%. That's what's going on here. And I agree with one of the first speakers who said, the format for this is unfair. Right. Come on. The Oakland A's billionaires get to have a PowerPoint presentation, and the rest of us get to speak as individuals. Don't you see something wrong with that? Come on now. Let's talk about the building of affordable housing. I just want to quote James Baldwin if I could. He said 50 years ago, urban renewal is Negro removal.
Successful negotiation thus far with us, although I'm not sure they would agree with me on that. I'm sure I wasn't their favorite person on many, many, many days, perhaps even this morning. Nevertheless, I think the board members are very familiar.
Today I also represent the Alameda Labor Council. I'm an elected executive board member. Today I'm going to urge you to move forward and approve this term sheet. This project will be an absolute boon for jobs. Oakland's working people deserve and want to see job creation and community strengthening projects rooted in Oakland.
My name is Derek Muhammad. I'm a resident of West Oakland, and I'm opposed to this project because I'm opposed to the displacement and the uprooting of the black community in West Oakland that this project will cause. Whenever a real estate development company develops land in a depressed area that conforms to the standards of a more affluent group, a more wealthy group, a more privileged group, and based on the history of urban renewal in this country, then that land becomes more valuable, making that land more expensive for the people who are already there and for the small businesses that are already there to remain. This project represents the uprooting of the black community of West Oakland. And I have a problem with that. And I don't understand why the mayor, if she's here, or why some of the state legislators who have been supportive of anti-displacement legislation, yet would support a project that would clearly wipe out our community. That's a problem. And so I think it's a clear indication of what they think about us and the lack of value that they have for this community. And so I'm encouraging you to reject this proposal, because to support this proposal is to support the annihilation and the undermining of what's left of the black community in West Oakland.
Taylor, I'm the president and CEO of GSC Logistics. GSC has been a port tenant for over 20 years. We handle 12% of all the imports at the Port of Oakland, moving over 100,000 containers a year. We have a considerable amount of concerns about the pedestrians and drivers leaving events, socializing, which means drinking, navigating truck and train traffic. In our 15 years of being at the port building, we've personally witnessed accidents, some resulting in death, when pedestrians get confused with oncoming trains. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when 30,000 fans, mostly inebriated, leave a game? No amount of fences will prevent kids from jumping over fences with trains and trucks whizzing by. The port of operations and the stadium operations need to remain segregated from one another, like 6 miles away. The port is confusing enough to begin with, and there are a lot of concerns about post-event drivers trying to traverse the roadways around the port at night after celebrating. Finally, someone around here is proposing a monthly rent for the A's at somewhere between $76,000, I've heard even lower numbers than that, per acre on a yearly basis. And I just want you to know that GSC is paying close to $100,000 per acre. That's extremely concerning for the port tenants, and it sounds like a lawsuit is waiting.
George. Today there's going to be a vote on whether or not to turn over part of the Port of Oakland, the Howard Terminal, to the A's, who are owned by John Fisher, who owns the Gap Corporation. Why are you here, and you're a member of the ILWU?
I'm here in support of my union. I'm a member of the ILWU Local 10 longshoremen, and recently employed and a graduate and promotion to a B-man. So here, my interest is my future here. And I'm here in solidarity with my union brothers and sisters so that, we can, stick together and keep Oakland A's from putting this ballpark here, because it's going to really cause a big effect in the operations. And it might even cause jobs here and stuff, and it's just...
What do you think about the idea of having a stadium on a working port?
I think it's just it's not questionable that it should be there. It just shouldn't be at all because it's going to cause a great deal of conflict in the operation and flow of the longshoremen, maritime, and the import-export of those operations down there vastly. And like I said, it could even cause jobs possibly. So I don't see the real benefit of putting a ballpark down there. And I'm not even sure if they did any long-term research to even justify putting a ballpark down there for that reason.
And they want to build 4,000 condos, probably over $1 million each. What would that do to West Oakland?
Well, certainly the people that live there now, the residents who've been there, it's already hard enough with the economics of paying rent and mortgage notes here, even just in West Oakland. That's just going to be like devastating to them and stuff because they're not going to be able to sustain that. It's just going to just move them right out.
And the Alameda Labor Council and the Alameda Building Trades are supporting this takeover of the port, land grab by John Fisher. Why would they do that?
I don't know, but it just in my mind it reminds me of how the Raiders deal went by. I know we're talking about two different issues, but I can't help but remember how that went down when it was noted that they had actually went behind closed doors and and settled those deals. So I don't know what are they doing and how are they doing it. This is like all new to everybody. How did they come up so quick and so fast to make this decision? No one saw this coming, not even the unions.
So the union, ILWU, wasn't consulted?
We weren't consulted. I just heard about this actually 2 weeks ago, and it's
at the May Day rally.
That was at the May Day rally. It's like, wait a minute here. It's just all of a sudden you decided you want to put a ballpark down here. I've just heard the fact that they made the decision. It's not that I didn't know that they was going to bring it down there, but to make the decision as fast as they did, that as though they're going to put it down here without a say-so. No, it's going to be a contest on that. It's going to be a contest, and that's why I'm here today. I'm just totally against it. I know it probably would help the economy a bit, but for who? Certainly not the residents that's going to be there. I just don't see that happening, not with those high-priced condos coming in there. And then looking at the ballpark to itself and how much it costs to go to an A's game. I haven't been to an A's game myself in almost 2 years. It's very expensive down there. So who's going to benefit it? For those that's probably not even from this community that's going to move in, right, as high as they are down there, those condos would be. So it's not going to benefit the community down there. I just don't see it. And the job that they have, they're not going to be union jobs.